availability for this week?
Yeah, Connor's still day to day. We're hopeful. We'll see how it goes with the training this couple days. We certainly missed him. I know it doesn't look that way, the way things went in Chapel Hill Friday night, and Truett Sunderland did a great performance, substituting in essentially as our backup quarterback. But Truett just move the ball. We don't need 5 touchdowns, just don't throw 5 interceptions either. Just make the smart play, and Truett did that Friday night. But we're gonna see. Every day it's we learn a little bit more about where Schoenberger will be. What we have to do is we got to be smart. Because we don't want to let this linger. And at this point, we've, the month of May is realistic for us, that we'll get an opportunity. So we got to be realistic about ensuring that he's 100% in May. So it's really day to day.
And what did y'all think you learned? Obviously he's such a focal point of the offense when he's out there, but what have you learned about yourselves when he's not out there, and maybe some lessons you can take when he is back?
Sure. Who else can step in? We've seen Truett play a role for us in his first start and do really well down at Chapel Hill on someone else's turf. That was amazing to see that. To see our midfielders take more of a sense of ownership of creating the offense, of creating the slides, and then being the feeders themselves. That's critical too. We can't just always lean on one man. Because in the past we had 2 quarterbacks. Whether it was Michael Krause and Matt Moore and Connor Schoenberger. This year we're a 1 quarterback system with 2 elite finishers in Xander Dixon and Peyton Cormier. Well, when you lose your quarterback, who else is feeding those guys? Now, granted, Peyton Cormier had 5 goals, but a lot of them were off the ground. But the middies did a better job of drawing slides and moving the ball and being the sort of the substitute passers for us.
It's rare in sports to have another opportunity at a team like this so quickly. What are y'all kind of taking with this opportunity? Yeah,
it's an amazing chance to go through immediately and say, all right, what do we need to be better at? But also recognizing the things that went well, and maybe the things we got a little lucky with, a bounce here, a bounce there, but recognizing what can we do to improve, and saying, hey, wow, we can find out in just 2 weeks. In this, as you know, I say all the time, in this race to improve, the lacrosse season, every season, it's a race to improve. And how much can we improve here? And we can establish ourselves against a really, really great opponent and see where we are. And so I'm really excited about this.
Just curious, you previously hadn't shared any common opponents with Duke before you played the first time. Now you've played Carolina, they've played Notre Dame, you've got tape on, but what does that affect anything? Does that change how you approach a second matchup now that you have shared opponents, so you can see how other teams you've played attack them in certain ways? Or is that...
It probably does in a bit. We're so lucky with film nowadays. We get every film within 24 hours. Every one of our opponents, every game they played this year and last year is available. Yeah. And so we do pour through all those films. Maybe it does help a little bit. Say, hey, we had a tough time defending this player. How did this team defend them? And we played that team, and we know the level. There's value there. There certainly is. But it's just more so. It's just right in being the thick of the ACC play. What a great time of year. It's getting warmer, and it's just getting more intense and warmer on the field. These rivalry games.
And obviously, you got the outcome you wanted on Friday in Chapel Hill. How did you like the way the men approached practice, both heading into that game, coming off the Duke loss, and this week coming off of the Carolina win?
Yeah, we talked about being irritable going into coming out of the loss to Duke, and staying the course there, staying unsatisfied. And so we had a really good week going into Chapel Hill. We still have a couple more practices here to say how we're going into this game down in Durham. This group of men just wants to get better and just put the work in. Ricky Maizan, he's the one who really put the words into what I think we were feeling. Like, fellas, forget all the noise. Put the work in. Put the work in this week, and let's get better. And I really like the way you summarized that.
And it feels like when your teams play the best is when you have guys like Grace and Saladay making the slide dive, the slide pop-up pass in, transition, or Truett making that save along the sideline, the heads-up play. How does that kind of encompass who makes up this team, and how much does the team build off of moments like that going forward?
Exactly, and you saw the UVA 2019 team make a couple crazy plays like you saw at Dorrance Field, again at Dorrance Field in 2023. Last time it was Matt Jama and John Fox, and this time it's Truett Sunderland and Grayson Saladay. But yeah, that's the character of this team, and it does really get us excited. And if we score a goal off one of those type plays, it feels like it's worth more than one. It feels like it's worth 1.5, and so that's really important to who we are and how we challenge ourselves. And so yeah, and we can continue to keep those going forward. Those are inspirational plays what True and Grayson did.
And I don't want to mess with identity, but is there any moment in a game where you're like, let's not 10-man ride? As we've seen, I think more 10-man ride goals across just lacrosse in general this season.
Yeah.
You know, Cole had the benefit of the one this, you know, and then anyway, does you ever cross your mind, like, what's the backup plan? Is there ever a time where you're like, all right, let's play them a little bit more conservatively, or would you rather the guys stay in that mindset to avoid, you know, mental mistakes, getting them out of who they are?
Yeah, we are really committed to it.
Yeah.
You know, I guess if you scored a third open net goal in the first half, I mean, okay, maybe it's just not the day. You know, you try to look at it like almost sort of non-emotionally, like statistically. You know, Brad Stevens, when he was coaching the Celtics, and maybe still is, he's in the management role there, he would just look at the odds. His player combinations, takes a shot from this, that's the odds of that going in. You know, for me, I'm like, okay, somebody scoring from 70 yards away, it's about 12%. You know, if they score one, doesn't mean, you know, actually statistically, it'd be really hard to do it again. You know, so just be not emotional with that decision making, and I often try to craft that, like in the office with the staff, watching film in nice, cool, warm conditions. We made decisions. Let's not change them because we're getting emotional in the moment. But I will admit, if that third open net goes in, I'm like, yeah, maybe we should stop doing it today. What do you think?
And I feel like Matt's looked his best the last two games,
Yes.
even in, you know, not the outcome you wanted against Duke, but does this feel like a building point for him? Like, does he seem different in practice? Does he seem like a different guy?
He actually doesn't feel that different in practice. I will give him credit. He looks different in games. No question. There was a little bit of a lull there in parts of March.
Yeah.
And I remember going to the South Bend, Indiana, you know, a little nervous, you know, like, and thinking, okay, where is Matt? The last couple games haven't gone well for him. You know, where is he emotionally? Where is he, you know, actually mechanically?
Yeah.
Kip Turner did an amazing job working with him. Kip is the goalie whisperer, and so we're seeing a different goalie in games now. But in terms of practice and his effort, he's the same. I love his consistency. He's great with our clearing. If team like Carolina's throwing a 10-man ride at us, that doesn't faze him. That doesn't make. Whereas we've had other goalies in the past, you know, got really antsy. He's calm and cool there, and then he runs a 10-man ride. Knows when to come out of the goal and when to get back in.
Yeah.
Along those same lines, well, rather with aggression per se. After Duke, you mentioned that, you know, you're trying to find that balance between over-aggression and aggression in transition specifically. Do you feel like in UNC you balance that well? Obviously, PD had 2 goals. You had the Evans in goal off of the Grayson Soliday dive and ground ball and all that. Does it feel like you're maybe rounding into form offensively with managing that?
I hope so. We had 9 transition goals by our count against North Carolina. That's a massive number. Obviously, PD was getting it going, and from the defense to the offensive end. But I honestly, the first time we played Duke, we created a lot of transition. We just didn't put the ball away. You know, their goalie made 3 saves against PD. We had a few turnovers, as you saw. We'd win the ball forward, but not even get a shot off. And so it was just a day where Duke's defensive strengths created some turnovers, and then their goalie made some nice saves. But it doesn't change who we are. We've got to keep pushing there, and you know, and you just standing on the sideline, you know. Got this, as I mentioned, you got statistical odds of what we should score here now, but there's a little bit of hope too. Like, okay, I hope this is a good day for us in terms of transition. We kind of felt that their first quarter against Maryland. We had a bunch of transition and nothing to show for it. But I felt like that was a lot of the Duke game the first time. So we're going to continue to push for that transition, pushing PD right off the face-off, going right to the goal, getting from our defensive offensive end with Saladay and Evans in. And then do we convert today? You know, do we convert against Duke the second time around, or do we not? And that'll tell the tale in a long way in terms of we win or not.